It comes out of actually a book called Nuremberg Diary. It was written by a man who was a psychologist who, at the time of the Nuremberg trials, was given the job of interviewing the top Nazi leaders who were in prison. And he took notes from these interviews. And he interviewed Hermann Göring and took notes. And I don't know whether he, although the interpreter was spoke German and English. I don't know if Göring spoke to him Göring spoke good English. He was a well-educated man, as many Nazi leaders were. Well, in the kind of spirit of education, let's say, of the Leave No Child Behind Act. You see, that is, they pass the tests. They get high test scores. And, but he asked Göring, how come you were able to bring the German people into this obviously horrible situation, this war which led to millions of them dying and utter defeat? And according to his notes, this is what Göring said: why, of course the people don't want war. Why would some poor slob on a farm want to risk his life in a war? But after all, it's the leaders of the country who determine the policy. The people can always be brought to the bidding of the leaders. All you have to do is tell them they are being attacked and denounce the pacifists for lack of patriotism and exposing the country to danger. It works the same way in any country. It was that last sentence that interested me. It works the same way in any country. You mean it works the same way in a totalitarian state as in our democratic, liberal state? And what does that then tell us about democracy? And what does that then tell us about the state of democracy in our country, if that's the way it works? Well, in fact, when you really inspect the state of democracy in the United States, it turns out there is no very simple spectrum of totalitarianism on the one end and democracy on the other end. There are all sorts of gradations in between. And democracy in the United States is not at the far end of the democratic spectrum. We have a long way to go, really, to be a democracy. We always have. We don't like to say it because it's too easy to just say we're a democracy. And there are just two kinds of places, countries in the world. There are totalitarian states and there are democracies. But it isn't that way at all.